Coming up, we have stories about postponed birthday plans, in-laws with boundary issues, brother-in-law troubles welcome, disagreements over gift cards, couples driving style differences, paternity test questions, and we also have spicy stories and a cake story. We do have a goal of 4K bolts here on the TikTok side to get Candy Thunder up here. She is here today with Navy Thunder. Hi, kiddo. Navy will be coming over shortly. I have a feeling. It is spicy story time. Hello there, it's Dusty Thunder, and I got a spicy story for you. The title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for Not Wanting My Kids Every Weekend? My ex-husband and I share custody of our 10-year-old daughter and 12-year-old son. We have a 2-2-3 schedule, which actually looks like I have the kids Friday after school, and then he gets them Monday after school. I get them back Wednesday after school, then he gets them Friday after school, and then the week flip-flops. We've done this since our divorce 5 years ago, and it works well. That seems complicated to me. Or is it? Okay, 2-2-3. Okay. OP has the kids Friday after school, and then he gets them Monday, then he gets them back Wednesday, and then he gets them Friday. Okay, I see. It seems like it would be complicated, though. I mean, we have a rotating schedule, too, so as long as you keep track of it, cool. If it works for you, cool. We've done this since our divorce 5 years ago, and it works well. I'm a nurse in the OR, so I schedule my shifts for the days during the week when they are with their dad, and my one call weekend every 6 weeks is a weekend they are with their dad. Recently, the kids said they want to try splitting up on the weekend, so instead of both of them being with one of us during the weekend, one will go with dad and one will be with me. My son said he would make sure he was with me on call weekends because he can stay by himself if I have to get called in or can hang out at the hospital until I'm done. My ex is on board with this because he says it will allow us to spend one-on-one time with the kids and will allow the kids a break from each other. They squabble occasionally and annoy one another. I assume that's where the desire for the split weekends came from. While they do have a point, sometimes it is hard to not feel like you are disappointing one by trying to accommodate the other. I do not want to give up my free weekends. It took me a few months to get used to not having my kids all the time after the divorce, but now my weekends without them are filled with activities or travel. My ex agreed if there was a weekend trip I wanted to take, he would be fine having both the kids that weekend, but I honestly don't want to have to take his schedule into consideration when planning my trips, and sometimes they are spontaneous trips. I was talking to my family about this at breakfast this morning, and they're all kind of appalled by me not wanting to do this. My sister pointed out that if I was still married, that I wouldn't have all the child free time I have now, and many mothers don't get a break from their kids like I do. My mom said she can't believe I would deny my children quality time with their parents for selfish reasons like not wanting to give up on my weekends. My sister-in-law seemed to understand where I was coming from, but said that she would still do it and just incorporate the child into whatever I was doing, and pointed out my daughter would love to go on the New York City shopping trip I had planned for December, and my son would happily join me for my Saturday morning spin classes. I considered that, but my sister-in-law loves taking her kids everywhere, so I don't know that she's aware of how nice it is to just be an adult without the responsibility of a child wherever you go. They were really making me feel like an asshole, though. Am I the astronaut? This is okay. I expected this to be a little bit of a split decision here. She said the quiet part out loud, Bobby Smith. Yeah. I feel like this is one of those things where she got used to having a little bit of freedom. Having the freedom to be an adult for like a full day is something that you really don't get as a parent. And she got a taste of that for a while and doesn't want to give it up. And while I respect that and I understand that, her family trying to make her feel bad about this and being appalled by her, I don't feel like that judgment is helpful, right? I don't feel like that is helpful at all. This is something she's going to have to process in her own time. And yeah, not wanting to give up that freedom is completely understandable. However, I feel like there's a lot of duty involved here too. And as a parent, yeah, you could incorporate your kids into some of the things. And one of the reasons that they're wanting to do this is to have one-on-one quality time. Let's be real here. The only reason that they're wanting to do this is because the two kids are at each other's throats and they hate each other. They love each other, but they hate each other and they don't want to be around each other. And that's understandable. They also aren't in charge. So while their desire fed this alternative to dad, and dad then pitched it over to mom. Now mom's the one who has the real cost involved. She's the only one giving something up, right? I guess he'd be giving something up too. He'd be giving up his weekends too, right? But I don't think OP has said this to her ex yet. It doesn't sound like she said this to her kids yet. She's talking to her family about it. And in that case, like, who is it safe to talk to about it? Who is it safe to confide in and be like, this is how I feel, and then to just be immediately shunned for it? Regardless of if you have structured time or not, like filling up your cup as a parent it's critical. It's not helpful. It's not like a bonus. It's a critical. It's a must do, or you're going to burn out. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be depressed. You're going to fall into a lot of these things because you're not able to feel like you. Especially parents of newborns, like you go through that phase where you're a zombie that's just caring for a little human goo thing, and you live to serve. You lose yourself in that process. And I think you start learning that you have to fill up your cup then, but you have to keep doing it, because then they start talking, and then they start talking back, and then they start rolling their eyes, and then it gets more complicated as you go. You know what I mean? She said it took a long time for her to get used to not having her kids there, and now she is used to it, and she's made the most out of that time. I'm sure she would get used to the other way as well, but now it's a Kobayashi Maru. Now it's are you going to hurt yourself, or are you going to hurt your kids? Like what is going to happen there? But you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time today, here she is, Tater Thunder.
Oh my God, it's Tater Thunder.
So I'm going to read this comment from Pug Mom because this is how I feel. She said, I was a single mother of 3 because my husband passed away when my youngest was 11 months old, which I am so sorry that happened. But she said, I never got a break. My kids saw the worst in me from my frustration at times. We do need times to ourselves. And I think that's how I feel. I'm a better parent when I have a small break, whether that's taking time to do stuff in the mornings and not having to rush through it because I'm not constantly having to do. It doesn't matter what the break looks like. I think it's just times have changed. They're not the same as they were 50 years ago or 60 years ago. Things are different, and we're understanding now that people get burnt out much easier than we realized. I think, yes, there are kids, and yes, we love them, but it's also okay to take time for yourself. And if I don't do that, I get short, I get snippy, I get fried. And I don't think that makes me a weak parent for saying those things and voicing that that's a problem for me. He knows this. I think I operate at my best whenever I feel like I have taken care of myself and I'm emotionally stable. And again, I 100% do not believe that makes me a weak mom for pointing out the obvious. And I don't think anyone here should feel weak for saying that they need a break. I think they should feel open and honest with themselves to say, this is hard, I need a break. And she's realized that, and she's realizing what she can do with that time off. And no, I don't think it's selfish to deny changing it. Right now, it is split 50-50 between these two parents, and they're doing something. And I think the dad would also realize what he's giving up, but emotionally, he doesn't understand that yet. And I think the mom is like, that weekend where she gets to be herself is being where she doesn't have to answer to someone else. And yes, she decided to have kids, and yes, I understand that, but something is being taken away, something that she's used to, something that her life has now become accustomed to. And so I think she's definitely not the asshole for having these feelings. And I understand wanting one-on-one time with your parent. And so I think there's a compromise that could be made, and maybe it's one day that weekend. But I also think it's important for the kids, because I think the arguing was part of the issue with them on the weekends. I think it's important not to separate them. I think it's important to allow them to have their feelings around each other and how to work through those feelings on the weekends that they're together at their dad's house or they're together at their mom's house. Like, I think there's a compromise in there somewhere where it's not just one child goes here for the weekend and the other one goes here. I think there's a family unit compromise that can happen between the four of them.
Smart. So here's where I get stuck. The immediate guilt of imagining myself in the situation where I would be potentially telling one or more of our kids, no, I don't want you to come over these weekends because I value my free time, overpowers my desire to fill up my cup and to have that time and to be the best version of myself, right? There's this sacrificial part of all of us.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the default wiring. That is like, yes, I will do that. You're right, though. It is.
I think it's like split them once a month. And so like that gives you 3 weekends a month. One is split. And then you still each get 1 weekend to yourselves a month.
Yeah.
But that way you're not splitting up the kids too much and you're not taking too much of your free time.
And it's still sacrifice.
And you're still sacrificing. Or do it one day of the weekend where you take them to do something while the daughter's with their dad and the son's with you, like whatever that looks like. But I don't think OP is the asshole for wanting to cherish the free time that she does have as a parent. That's where her life is right now. And like, I don't think we should just shit on her because she chose to have kids and now she's wanting free time. I don't think anyone should shit on anyone for wanting that. Now, if you abuse free time as a parent, I think, yeah, she would be an asshole. But right now they're doing it 50-50. And so I don't think she's abusing anything right now.
Well, right now they're following the parenting plan.
Yes.
So right now they're following the document that if no agreement can be made, has to be fell back on, right? So right now they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're asking for a change to that. And I immediately didn't even think of the possibility of saying, no, we're not going to split you up. Like, you have to learn how to problem solve.
Right.
You have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to work with difficult people. These are skills that you are going to need.
Yes.
Having a sibling is beneficial for you because then you're going to become an adult and work with difficult people. You're going to have to deal with difficult people in public, and you're going to know how to do it so much more because you had a sibling. If you run from this now, you will not know how to do this later. Now I get to go to my spin class or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't know how do you approach this from her position? This is obviously a conversation that she has with her ex, not with her kids.
100%. Don't
first,
yes.
At least, but they already know because they've already talked him into pitching this plan. So she's got to talk to her kids at some point here and have that conversation. How would you do that?
I would talk to my husband and say, hey, I hear what you're saying. Let's compromise on this and not split them up every other weekend so that they are still functioning at your house, together and not focusing on the arguing and everything like that, but focusing on how to handle themselves when they're pissed off, when they're upset with the other person. But then also we can do like 1 weekend a month. Let's split them up. And if it's 1 weekend a month, they do it on mom's weekend. The next weekend it's on a dad weekend, like whatever that looks like. But I don't know.
Compromise
I would
has
just
to be the way
compromise.
to go.
Yeah.
I think it's the only option here that doesn't lead to an immediate burnout. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. Title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for Asking My Wife to Postpone Her Birthday Plans? My wife, 43 female, and I, 46 male, had plans to go to a restaurant for her birthday. It was just going to be us, not a larger gathering. This was a weekday, so there was going to be dinner out after a normal workday for both of us. I realized 2 days before her birthday that the day of her birthday was the same day as my weekly community sports match for which I'm a team captain. Okay, hold up. Weekly community sports match. Does anybody know what that is? The team doesn't need me to play, but I had already missed the last 2 weeks of play because I was out of town and I didn't want to miss a third week. The restaurant she planned on doesn't require advanced reservations, so it would have been easy to go another night. I asked her if it would be okay if I played my match and do dinner another night. Yeah. Oh, okay, hold on. So the 2 days that you were out of town, yes, or the 2 weeks you were out of town, yes, those are excused absences. Your wife's birthday would be an inexcused absence to the community sports league for which you are a captain for? Just want to make sure I got all this straight. Welcome to the Brozo League. You are also a captain here. She said she would prefer to go out on her birthday. I explained to her that I'd rather play in my match because I'd missed a few weeks, and she again said that she wanted to keep our plans for her actual birthday. She then said it hurt her feelings that I had asked not to spend her birthday evening with her so I could play sports. While I agreed to keep our original plans, the situation caused a fight, and she wound up going to dinner alone on her birthday. Oh, no. Oh, no. You are a dumbass. Other context is that we live overseas, so our close friends and families are far away. We have a few acquaintances in our local community, but not close friends. Playing in my weekly match is one of the highlights of my week. The reason I missed the last 2 weeks of my match was because we were back home visiting her family, and I really didn't want to miss another week. Am I the astronaut? If the situation were reversed, I wouldn't care if my wife spent my birthday with me or not. Eek! I don't think, number one, bullshit. Number two, you're saying that has no gravity in this situation at all. Edited to add info, some people missed that I was out of town with her visiting her family. This doesn't mean that I'm trying to say it's her fault I was away. She also takes off work and misses things to see my family too. Appreciate the perspectives here. Clearly, I'm the astronaut. Yeah. Because you literally created a hierarchy where being out of town to visit family, regardless of if it's hers or yours, being out of town to visit family is more important than her birthday. Also, because you called those excused absences and her birthday was not an excused absence. Also, playing in your weekly community sports club match is more important than her birthday. Not just the thing that happens only once per year, not weekly, but the day that you were supposed to celebrate the person that you love and chose to do life with as your partner, as your person. Starting to sink in? Yeah. So, this is not intentional evil. So while it very well could be like a black hole type of situation, I'm going to ask on one because this is just, you're a terrible human for this, right? Like, yeah, maybe it's an ask on two. You definitely shouldn't do that because I don't think there's not like an evil motive behind it. He's just a brozo. He's a brozo ask on 1.5, something like that. It was dumb. It was dumb. And his logic here of his justification, trying to justify him wanting to do this thing. He actually, talking about the hierarchy, shove her birthday down even further because his desire to do something for him outweighed her desire to do something with him on her birthday. I think this is one of those, in the beginning of the relationship, he probably never would have made this decision kind of things. Does it say how long they've been together? Boop-a-doop-a-doop. They're 43 and 46. Okay, they're 43 and 46. I think this is an issue of taking your partner for granted. So let's say they've been around for like 20 of each other's birthdays at the longest. They've experienced several of them. He's taking it for granted and probably even self-justified it by saying like, oh, we're going to do a bigger thing on the weekend or, I can make this up to it. No, dude, it's the one day. You don't get to do you things on your partner's birthday. You shouldn't, like to the level of you don't get to. You shouldn't because it's just like, it's a big no-no because it makes you an asshole. Gomez, my boyfriend doesn't care about his birthday but still makes an effort for mine. It's because he loves you, right? Title of this story is Am I the Astronaut? I just need one day to myself. Longtime fan, first time sending in a story. I have posted this on Reddit also, but haven't had much traction, so I thought I would send it to you for some advice or help. Grab your tea, grab your popcorn. It's a long one. Is it really an AITA post if in-laws aren't involved? Not a good one. I, 30 female, have had boundary issues with my in-laws to be since I moved countries to be with my now fiance, 35 male. For context, I come from a long line of introverts. My family, extended and immediate, have always been respectful of boundaries. We're all introverts. We all get it. If you need me, I'm there for you and will do anything for you, but no dropping over unannounced, no last minutes, just popping over for a cuppa. It's just how we are. Me personally, I'm a very routine-based person, and I do realize that sometimes I can be too rigid. However, I have gone to therapy to help deal with this. Me too, girl. My therapist says it's fine to have routine and boundaries, but I also have to be willing to compromise, which I am. I don't know if I can Me Too, girl, that one. I work 4 days a week in retail. Doesn't seem like much, but any introvert in retail knows the struggle. I'm off Sundays, which is mine and my partner's date day. Tuesdays, which is my deep clean and got the house top to bottom day. I'm the housewife that works, contributes a small amount of money from a very shite pay, cooks every day and cleans up after my fiance, who is the breadwinner and works from home, and my brother-in-law, 26 male, who lives with us, but that's another story. Wednesday is my day. Or well, it's supposed to be. My actual day off where I get to just shut off, crochet, read, whatever. Not have to deal with chores, I still do, or humans. 1 day out of 7 is all I ask, and still I never get it 100% because as any woman knows, housework always has to be done. But I can live with that if I don't have to see people, particularly my in-laws. Now, I do love my in-laws. They're very kind, warm, and welcoming. They're also loud, messy, overbearing. When I first moved here, they would call over unannounced constantly. They nearly walked in on us doing the deed at least 4 times. They don't believe in knocking or doorbells. This caused many an argument between my partner and I, as you can imagine. During the first year and a half that I lived here, I fell into a very deep depression. I am doing okay now, thankfully. I am medicated and therapied. Whilst I was in therapy, I brought the whole coming over unannounced thing up and how it drove me nuts, but also I love how close my fiance is with his family and I don't want to be some witch that comes between that. So we discussed coming to a compromise with my partner, and that's what we did. 1 day a week, Wednesday, for me. Except this doesn't always happen. It's worth mentioning we live on a very small island near the UK. That's all I can say without giving away my location. So it goes without saying they live nearby, because everything is nearby. From the southernmost point of the island I live on to the northernmost point is about an hour's drive, if even. This makes me think of Kier, or like where the ether mill that they went to, what was that place called? In Severance? No, it had a name. My in-laws live 10 minutes away. Some Wednesdays I get to myself-ish, but they always seem to need to drop something off, or they were in the neighborhood. Just this evening, which is the reason I'm writing this post, my fiance's dad says he has to drop some motorcycle part off to our neighbor, so he'll be popping in. And I'm just like, this couldn't have waited until tomorrow? It's currently 7 p.m. where I live. It's not like the neighbor will be going out this evening. I think it's just an excuse to come over. Salt's Neck. Yeah, that's what it was. Salt's Neck. I got annoyed when my partner mentioned he was coming over. I said, all I ask for is 1 day in the week. My partner apologized. I told him apologies without actions are null and void. This has been going on for almost 3 years now. This complete and utter disregard for me and my boundaries. I would also like to point out that my fiance gets Saturdays and Sundays to do what he wants. He doesn't have to worry about housework or anything because I do it all. Yes, he makes the money and I make the home. He gets 2 days of fun and all I ask for is 1. It's like a nice little song you got going on there. Am I expecting too much? Is 24 hours without seeing the in-laws or anybody that's not my partner too much to ask? I don't think it is, but I need strangers on the internet to tell me either way. No, it is not too much to ask. You have his family that's not respecting your boundaries, but here's what I'm wondering. Have these been established as boundaries to them? Do we have OP in chat, by the way? OP, are you here? Karen Jones, that's what I'm saying. I think you have a husband problem. I don't know this. I'm operating off of a hunch, but it feels like these boundaries were supposed to be communicated to his parents by him. I don't think he did it. If anything, he might have given them the diet version. He might have given them some watered down version. And even if he did explain them, he's not enforcing them. So they're not a boundary. It was just a one-time notice to be treaded on hereinafter. He needs to say something. Yes, Risa, 100%. He needs to communicate and enforce the boundaries. Unless you don't mind doing it. If you don't mind being like, look, Dale, we all agreed that Wednesday's my day, okay? Why are you here, Dale? You didn't have to drop off a motorcycle part to the neighbor and drop by my place just to say, hey, what are they doing when they come over just to say hi? Are they just walking in and they're like, hi, and then they turn around and they leave? What happens when they come over? Can you not make it more than 20 minutes without having to poop and you need your bathroom? Is that what's happening? Why are they coming over so often? When he's not even there. Oh no, he is there. He's working from home. He's at work. Leave him alone. Let him focus. Why? Who has a family like this that comes over a lot, that like spends a lot of time together? And I'm not saying who has a family that comes over unannounced, that barges in and doesn't respect boundaries. I'm saying who has family that like comes over a lot and sees each other a lot. Candy Thunder does. Her family, they see each other a lot. But it's always in an intentional, loving way. It's not in a, hey, I'm coming over whether you like it or not kind of way. But I don't think they know that. I really don't. I don't think your husband is communicating that to them. Ellen, why is she doing all the housework? I'm so lost. Because he earns more? That means he doesn't have to do any housework? I mean, whatever works for them in their arrangement works for them in their arrangement. The problem is their arrangement is not being upheld. He gets the whole weekend. Yeah, it isn't working for her. She only gets one day to chill. But you know what? She was happy with that one day. She was happy with the one day. And whether that's fair or balanced in there, that's between the two of them. But the arrangement is not being honored. And that's all that matters here, OP. And I think you take that to your husband. I really feel like he is failing to communicate, or maybe you've never told them, but he is for sure failing to reinforce this boundary and just letting them. It's not a boundary. Boundary has to have a consequence. This was just like writing on a doormat. End T A. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a spicy story for you. Here it comes. Title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for Leaving My Husband Alone with the Kids for 2 Days? My husband, 27, always complains that the house isn't up to his standards and that it's a mess, or that I sometimes put on frozen meals instead of cooking a fresh dinner. Oh, wait. Okay, just to recap, we're about 2 sentences into this story and have learned that OP's 24 with 2 sets of twins that are 5 years old and 3 years old, and her 27-year-old brozo husband complains about not having gourmet meals. I think we can go ahead and confirm that NTA right now.
It sounds like a dream.
My question right now is, why would you want to leave the kids with this man-child? It's super irritating because I'm expected to do everything just because I work from home. Oh, you work too. Okay. Just because I work from home, he thinks I have it easier than his job, which is physical labor. I can never do anything because when he has time off, all he wants to do is sleep, and says he needs it because he's exhausted from work, or he wants to use his break to hang with his friends. Oh, wow. Just when you think it can't get any worse, ladies and gentlemen, it does. A lot. So basically all the chores are usually thrown on me, and I had enough of it and came to the show when my friend called me to hang out, and when I asked my husband to watch them so I can go, he went into a rant about how he's tired and he's been working all week, and the least I could do is watch the children so he could get some rest because I'm home all day with easy work. 2 sets of twins, all the housework, and a work from home parent. Like, how do you get anything done? When's the last time you showered? Like, when? How? So I decided after I put the children to sleep that night to leave a note saying that I'll be out. Just leave and have a night out with the girls, which ended up turning into a weekend out with the girls. That's bold. That's bold. And again, I don't know that in your position I would feel comfortable leaving the children with... I mean, surely you have enough confidence of him and taking care of them to do this, but like leaving a note and just bailing? That's bold. And we confirmed that NTA, but I don't know about this. I don't know about just leaving a note and bailing, because I don't trust him with the kids. That's only a kid thing. He deserved it, for sure. When morning time came, he was calling and texting me nonstop, and when I answered, he was yelling at me and cursing me out. When my friends overheard the conversation, they were shocked and hung up the phone for me and told me to mute it. I didn't have any plans to stay any longer than that night, but when my friends overheard how my husband spoke to me, they convinced me to stay here and even told me they'd take me out to eat and planned a whole day for me. Oh, green flag friends. I mean, they caused more trouble at home for her by convincing her to stay an extra night, but then being like, oh no, we got you, girly. When I got back, the place was a complete and utter mess, like piles full of dishes, garbage all over the place, floors were sticky, there was pee all over the toilet, and the place just smelled awful. My husband, of course, was angry and had a suitcase already packed. He barely said 2 words to me and just left and texted me saying he'd be staying at his mom's. It's either the smallest violin or a booger. I'm not sure which. Tú es amor. That's right. You know what? I'm going to punish you by leaving.
Absence.
Great. Now I feel horrible because clearly he couldn't handle taking care of the kids for this long by himself, and I feel like an asshole and I don't want this to ruin my marriage. Do y'all think I'm an asshole for the way I acted? Hold up! Hold up! Exactly. We need to talk about the previous line. You don't want this to ruin your marriage? I don't think what you have is a marriage. I think what you have is an unpaid 1099 contractor relationship. Oh man. And you know what? I bet your friends on this Freedom Day where they were like, no. You're gonna stay and we're gonna have a freaking blast. I imagine they spent that whole day trying to convince you that you don't deserve this, that you don't deserve to be treated this way, that you are worthy of love and of respect. And then you went back and you feel like an asshole? No. Also, how did his suitcase brozo douche canoe move work? How did that cause any effect on her? She's like, oh my God, he's leaving. I just imagine, I don't know why, but my mental picture of that suitcase was like the messiest suitcase anybody has ever packed. There's like shit just hanging out of it, even though it's zipped. You know what I mean? Callie, yeah, poor OP. We need to send all the love to her. This, I can't imagine. I can't imagine one set of twins, let alone two. I mean, I guess at least you have two sets that can entertain themselves or each other. You know what I mean? But wow, that sounds like a crazy amount of work. And the fact that you work from home and take care of both sets of twins and do all the housework and cook, and he and he bitches about the cooking, is you deserve better. Your children deserve better. Your children deserve a better example of what a husband and a father should be. Your children deserve a better example of what a mother and wife should be respected like. Your children are learning what to expect of love and of marriage and of trust and of hope, all from you right now. If not for you, for them, stand up and say that this is not okay. Make the decision that you wish they would make someday if they were in this position. Hatter dropping the 20 bomb on the YouTube side says, this is just my opinion, but I have a feeling that Obi's husband is like this because he had a mom who would do everything for him, even wipe his own butt. Taking care of kids and housework is a job in and of itself. I think you're very, 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 very high likelihood that you are spot on here. The fact that his first retaliatory response here was to run to mommies tells us pretty much everything we need. Not mom telling him, you're a dad, suck it up and take care of your kids. Mama being like, oh, she hurt you, baby. Come on, just come on. You bring your messy suitcase and you just leave all that other mess for her and you come on over. Good gravy. Now again, leaving a note was ballsy, right? But that's the only way that you could leave. That's the only way you would ever get out of there. And that, I get it. But in your position, I would have had a really hard time trusting somebody this much of a brozo, which we'll do again. I don't know that I couldn't trust a person like that with my kids. She won't notice he's gone other than his complaining. Oh, there'll be less of a mess. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another story for you. Title of this one is In-Laws Straining My Marriage, but It's My Fault, apparently. First post, so bear with me. About a year ago, me, 28 female, and my husband, 30 male, allowed my brother-in-law, 19 male, to move in with us to get him out of a rough situation and help him start adulting. This was about May of last year. I agreed to have him move in with the promise from brother-in-law and husband that it was only going to be a couple of months until brother-in-law found a roommate to move out with. He is also to pay some rent monthly as he has a full-time job now, keep his area clean, and help around the house. Keep in mind I have 2 children under the age of 5 and also work, and I'm still the housekeeper, cleaning, cooking, food, etc., while my husband also works about 60 hours a week. Fast forward to those couple of months, no luck on finding a roommate, brother-in-law still living with us. Okay, he's young. I'm just going to give him some more time to figure this out. I'm trying to be understanding and gracious, as I also had some help getting on my feet at this age. I have confronted brother-in-law a few times asking, so how is the roommate search going? You found an apartment yet? Only to be answered with shrugs and, I don't know. I will say at this point I'm starting to feel in the dark with what is actually going on. As in, is there even a plan of him moving out? Is he even looking for a roommate or an apartment? Husband says just give him more time and that he's working on it. You know, it's funny because I think the last Wednesday, there was a guy who said, just give her more time. Just give her more time. Give her more time. And then there ended up being like assault charges and stuff. So time is not an answer. Frustrated, it's Christmas time now, and he's requesting to have his girlfriend of 2 years who lives out of state to move in too, with a promise that she has a job and they will move out in 1 month. I tell my husband that I'm not comfortable with it, as brother-in-law was not supposed to be here at all this time in the first place. Husband says I'm overreacting. Oh, love that line. And starts making comments of making me sound like I don't care about his family. Okay. Let the gaslighting commence. Angry, I just shut down and keep my mouth shut to avoid the argument. My next mistake. Girlfriend moves in and surprise, surprise, doesn't have a job and claims she's looking for one for 3 months now since living under my roof. You didn't know it, but you started running a shelter. Fast forward to now, rent is not being paid anymore. The cleaning of their own areas has stopped, and there's been absolutely no trying to find a way to move out of my home. I've quit asking brother-in-law questions to keep myself from being furious and directed the questions towards my husband. At this point, I'm done trusting that my husband has any plan or control in this whole situation, which is driving me insane. Anytime I bring it up to my husband, I'm met with hostility and accusations of just wanting to throw his family out on the street and that I shouldn't be upset with this because I agreed to it. Agreed to what? Yes, I agreed to brother-in-law moving in for a couple of months. Yes, I graciously gave him extra time to figure things out. At this point, I no longer feel comfortable in my own home, and every day me and my husband argue about it, which always turns into very ugly outcomes. We don't even sleep in the same bed anymore. I'm annoyed that I've been conned into taking on 2 grown adults while trying to raise my own family. Remember, 2 kids under the age of 5. I'm angry that I'm being made out to be the bad guy when all I wanted was to be hopeful. I don't know what to do anymore. I guess my main question to the Reddit world is, am I the astronaut because I let all this happen in the first place? No, you're, okay. There is this whole, though, like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me thing. You fought hard against the second time, though. You did, valiantly. You fought valiantly, but you're not the asshole for letting this happen in the first place because you believed the best in humans and they let you down. I don't think you can be an asshole for having hope in another human being, especially the first time. The second time, you knew what was going to happen. You knew what was going to happen. And it still happened, not because you allowed it to, because you got steamrolled. So just like the follower submission that we read earlier, I don't think this is a family problem. I think this is a husband problem for you. He facilitated this. He allowed it. It's his family. He needs to be creating and reinforcing the boundaries and is doing none of that. He is failing as a husband and as a father. He's failing as a husband and a father. Hearing that you are failing as a husband and father is hella motivation for most guys. Those are core fears. Core fears. No, OP, you're not. You're NTA here, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with this. Your husband is failing you and your children, and he needs to know that. He is not winning universal brownie points here by helping out his brother. He is failing as a husband and as a father by allowing his family to be taken advantage of. And if you think the kids aren't being taken advantage of as part of this, and I don't mean in the creepy way, I mean they've lost space. There are arguments happening all around them because of this now. They're in a more hostile, depressed environment than they would have been. This cost them too. He failed them too. Tell them that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have another story for you. Hey, it's Dusty Thunder. Title of this story is, Am I the Astronaut for Not Putting My Brother-in-Law as a Referral for My Apartment? I, 23 male, just applied to a nice apartment. After a month of trying to find the perfect place in my price range, my sister and brother-in-law told me about their complex. They live in a townhome, which is way out of my budget, but the complex also had 1 bedrooms, which were perfect for me at a great price. The complex does not advertise on normal apartment websites as they prefer getting residents from the area and word of mouth. They also have a special that if you are referred by someone, they get a $500 Walmart gift card. I moved out from my roommate's apartment and left almost all of my belongings there, just part of my situation I was in months ago, leaving me with almost nothing to move with into this apartment. I have a good chunk of savings, but any help I have been getting has been a miracle. I asked if we could split the Walmart gift card so I could get a bunch of little things for bathroom and kitchen. My brother-in-law and sister said no, as they were using it to get a new TV. So you're depending on me to get you this money? Okay. I told them about my plight, and they just said they would be on the lookout for some of the things I needed. Anyways, I got time for the application and I put nobody as my referral. When I left the management office, I went over to their apartment to eat dinner and celebrate. Oh, that's so petty. They asked if I referred them and I said I left it blank. They got kind of upset, saying it took no effort or money on my part and I was essentially helping no one in this situation. They are demanding I go back and say I was referred, but I don't think they will let me and I don't want to embarrass myself like that. Oh, okay. You were going to do it. You were going to go back. You're just embarrassed. They have their place established. They pay less rent because they split it. They all have furniture. I need the help and they refused. Yeah, it was free and easy to do, but they could even split it for me. Am I the astronaut? Funny, ain't it? Their argument can also be used against them. They're like, it'd be free because it's not costing you anything. You don't have this money. This is money you are depending on me to get you. And easy. I offer to put you down. We split it. Cool. Because the alternative is OP puts nobody down and nobody gets a damn thing. Which is what happened. And it was petty. Going over there for dinner right afterwards, it was petty as F. But we learned something. It was unintentionally petty as F. OP didn't hold that in till dessert was finished and then be like, oh, by the way, I didn't put you guys down as my referral. No, OP was like, I put nobody down because you guys are kind of dicks about it. And then we're like, what the hell? Go back over there. And he's like, I don't know if they'll let me. I don't know. What do we do? It wasn't intentional. If it was intentionally petty. Here's an update. We actually have a small, tiny 20 update. My application was approved and I'm moving in May. Decided to let them know they referred me and they said noted. Whether they split it or not, making a landlord pay up is always a good deed. Damn. They ended up getting, you caved. You caved, OP. I would just be like, hey, okay, I'll go back there, but you all owe me 10 dinners, something. There's got to be a compromise in there somewhere, but you caved. No. Yeah, they're established. They were going to buy a TV. They just already had their heart set on something. They already had plans for the money that he was going to help them get. I think it was unintentional, and they allowed themselves to get pushed around a little bit. I do like that they took the step, though. But it's if you're gonna be petty to somebody, be petty and stick to it. Otherwise, you're just that was a very weak attempt at being petty. Weak. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for refusing to drive if my wife is in the car? That sounds petty. Now we're talking. For years after we got married, I could never figure out why I would be so angry and moody anytime my wife and I went somewhere. Then it finally clicked. I was only in a bad mood if I drove with my wife. My wife is the absolute worst backseat driver I have ever seen. Doesn't matter how I drive, she still finds things to complain about. Why did you go this way? If you would have went that way, you would have been there by now. You're driving too fast or driving too slow. You could have made that light real. The light was red and you blew through it. Can you brake any harder, idiot? There were 17 great parking spots and you had to choose parking spot 18, which is the absolute worst. You turned your blinker on too late. You turned your blinker on too early. Why are you accelerating so slowly? Whoa, was it necessary to accelerate that quickly? Etc. My back started sweating for him. I'm like, feel the white knuckle grip on that steering wheel, just torque it up. So for the past couple of years, I have refused to drive. I now make her do all the driving. And lo and behold, I'm no longer a grumpy person when we travel. She has now gotten upset that she is now always driving and told me I needed to at least split driving 50-50 with her. I told her if she could keep her opinions to herself while I was driving, I would. She agreed. Oh, interesting. We have a challenge. So last weekend, I started driving. She couldn't even last 3 minutes without criticizing my driving. I pulled over and told her I'm done. Either she takes over driving or we're going home. She eventually took the wheel. As she muttered that I drive like a moron, even though there's only one of us who has any tickets and has at-fault accidents on the record, and it's not me. So, am I the astronaut for refusing to drive if she's present? Hell no! OP came up with a life hack and was petty about it, but created a boundary that he's stuck to. And he's like, nope, this is the structure. I refuse to sacrifice my happiness for your convenience. I refuse. So So we're kind of in a phase where we have to be a little bit of a backseat driver because we're teaching kids how to drive. Driving with permit drivers. I hate it too. I try to just keep my mouth shut all the time, but when one of them is barreling toward a car that's stopped in the middle of the road, you have to say something, right? And then you have to try to make it a teaching moment and not just say, hey, stop, but you have to be like, okay, next time something like this happens, blah, 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 blah. Here's how we can prevent that kind of situation in the future. And then you get like, okay, I'm like, it's not fun. It's not fun. Candy Thunder does not criticize my driving. She will gasp. She's a gasper. She's Gasper, the friendly ghost. Correct them in the moment, but wait till the end of the drive to talk about how to avoid it in the future. Ah, smart. I like it. Yeah. That's smart. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, don't distract them further. That makes a lot of sense. Or just have them pull over on the side of the road right then, and you get out and you talk about it. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.